Gerry, why don't you tell me a little bit about your role at Adelphi University?
I do crime prevention and community affairs, but I do the intaking of all found property. So all found property comes through me. I enter it into the system, I bag it, label it, and then I hand it off to auxiliary services who they store it and they'll return it to anybody who comes to claim it.
Okay, got it. And how long have you been using RepoApp?
I took over the property about a year and a half ago. Auxiliary services gave me the program RepoApp, and then I took over the property exclusively. Before that, it was a lot of student workers had access to the program, and it was a different person every time entering all the property. There was no consistency. They also were getting their building renovated, so nobody had access to them anymore. So I took over the property, and evidently I probably did too good a job because now the building's reopening and they're not giving property back to them. I'm going to continue doing all the intake. So I'll be the only person entering property in the system at all, just so it's consistent.
Okay. And you touched on it a little bit, but how was the university managing lost and found before using RepoApp?
There was really no system. Basically, people would turn in anything to either public safety or auxiliary services. We would document it on our end with a report, but everything would end up going to auxiliary services. And basically, it was thrown into a storage room.
Where do you think you get the most value out of the app?
For the most part, it's not property that's like expensive or a phone, because usually I can track an owner down, especially with IT. We can, plug the phones in and we'll find out the owner because it'll come up with their email address. So usually a phone or a wallet, I'll be able to return very quickly. For the most part, though, it's like the other property that we end up storing. We could bring in when our students are here, I think we can do up to maybe 10 pieces of property a day. So, and of those, one or two might be a phone or a wallet, which I'll pretty much get back very quickly. But I do like to have the students sign the return property sheet. I print that out for every piece, just so we have, we document that they did pick it up. But, we can build up a lot of property very quickly, especially when the students are here.
In terms of like problems and frustrations that you think the program solves, what do you think it does to make it more efficient, like the lost and found process, more efficient or better or more productive?
I think on my end, it's accountability. That's the big issue, especially when you're dealing with something with a monetary value.
Yeah. What results do you think you're achieving from RepoApp? What areas of your business or your life or your team's life do you think are improved, and by how much?
Again, it's all accountability. We don't do a report for every piece of property that comes in on our end, like an official department report. I'll do a report for like a phone, a wallet, a nice piece of jewelry or something like that. I'll do a separate incident report for our department. There's a lot of property that comes in, though, that the only place it is recorded is in the RepoApp. So at the end of the day, it would be on my master sheet, and there would be a return property sheet also for it. So that's really the only record of that property coming into us too. So it's accountability.
Okay. In terms of accountability, could you expand on that a little bit?
I think it's very important to document any property that comes into the possession of the department. It protects the department, I believe, legally. Accountability is huge because you don't need someone coming in saying, well, my wallet had $200 in it and now there's no money in my wallet. What was in there when it came in? And I always thought if you enter the wallet as soon as it comes in and you list the money that's in there, it shows what came in. Sometimes you do get wallets that come in with no cash. The wallet's found laying on the sidewalk or something. And, sometimes, people will take it. So we always, like if someone turns in a wallet or a piece of property, we'll get their ID, we'll take their name and phone number, and then I'll enter it into the system. But it's very important to document what comes into the possession of the department at the time it enters. It just saves headaches down the road.
Do you think RepoApp is saving you a lot of time versus doing it manually by spreadsheet or?
Oh, without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
It's
How much
the
time?
system's. I like the way it assigns a number to each piece because that just makes it so much easier to track it down if we have to.
Okay. So the biggest benefits in your opinion are the time and the accountability, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think the benefit of that? Like, can you imagine your lost and found process without using it?
Without using it, um, it would be people would be coming in looking for their property, and if someone didn't take the time to go in the back and go through each line and shelf and box, they're going to tell them we don't have it. And then 6 months down the road, we're stuck with a box of backpacks, skateboards, or whatever else comes in. And then, I know they donate a lot of it to the shelters, but if the person lost their property and we have it, there's no reason they shouldn't get it back.
What do you think caused Adelphi to work with us? What do you think was their reasoning?
I don't know who found you or who opened, who contacted you. I'm not sure. It was done before me, but I like the program. It's a very easy program to work with. I mean, if I can handle it on the computer, basically anyone can.
And how likely are you to recommend us to other lost and found teams that are in
I would
universities?
recommend it because I do like it. I think it's pretty efficient. It's not, it doesn't require too much information, but the information that's required there is basically what is needed to store it, or even to, if the person calls up and says, I lost a red hat, you can enter red hat and any red hats we have will come up. So
Mm.
it works.